Let's continue the forest topics, moving to a special session that is the Fresh Life session. The title is Multi-Scale Remote Sensing Retrieving Forest Attributes, Main Results from this LIFE project. Fresh Life is in the LIFE program, but is mainly devoted to the use of remote sensing supporting sustainable forest management. And this is our main aim in this project. We will have 5 presentations dealing with the five main topics of the project. Gerardo, do you want to say something about the project? Something more? No? No, it's okay. It's okay. For the people who do not know perfectly the project, you can go to the website, but of course we will have a presentation on the first achievements of the project. Please remain into the 30 minutes so we can have 2 minutes for discussion. This is very important. And I give the floor for the first presentation to Francesca Giannetti, that will introduce herself and present.
Hi, I'm Francesca Giannetti and I work at the GeoLab, the Laboratory of Forest Geomatics with Professor Chirici, and in the project I work on the use of 3D photogrammetric data to estimate and predict forest variables. In this case I will present the estimation of forest structure index using UAV data. In the project we had 2 different drones. The one that I present now is the EB SenseFly, is a photogrammetric drone with categories of inoffensive because the weight is really low, and it can fly for 40 minutes and acquire photo following a plan that is automatically, and acquire data with an overlap and side lap in order to obtain 3D data in post-processing. In this case, we use the RGB camera that acquired data in 3 bands, red, green, and blues. And we acquired the data in 2 study areas, in this case, Vallombrosa Forest and Rincine. One is the study area demonstration site of Fresh Life, and the other is to try to create the same map in another forest, not only in the one of the project. So we acquired images with an overlap and side lap of 80% and 75%, with a flight above ground level of 140 meters. So we processed the imaging with photoscan in order to obtain 3D data, point clouds, 2D data, raster grid, DSM, and orthomosaic. So until now, when UAV photogrammetric data were used to build a point cloud of the surface of the forest, of the canopy, and then will be merged with a digital terrain model acquired by an helicopter, usually in LiDAR DTM, in order to obtain hybrid canopy height model that in literature have the same result in the estimation of a growing stop or other index as the one derived by LiDAR. But what's happened if ILS is not available, so it's not possible to have a digital terrain model, a really high resolution digital terrain model? Until now, there was no possibility to use UAV photogrammetric data, the 3D photogrammetric data, because we use only the orthomosaic for classification, for example. So we studied a new approach that was just to use the digital surface model and the point cloud derived by UAV, and we published the first article in Remote Sensing of Environment in this year, and we obtained a comparable result between ILS, the traditional use of UAV data, and DTM independence metrics that are completely different from the one that until now was used. Then we want to respond to another question. It's possible to map forest vegetation index with this new DTM independent approach. So we select these two study areas, Vallombrosa and Rincine, where there was a sampling plot according to a sampling plan. We have 30 plots in Vallombrosa and 50 plots in Rincine, where we measure all the three, and we was able to calculate 7 different vegetation index, like basal area, mean diameter, standard deviation of diameter, Gini coefficient of diameter, dominant height, Loris height, and so on. Then we acquired the data with the EB sense flight, following this characteristic of flight. And then we have also the LiDAR variable that was consistent with the field plot measure. So we compare the two different approaches. With an area-based approach, we extract from the data, DTM independent variable, and from ILS, the traditional ILS variable with a normalized point cloud. Then we create a multivariate linear regression model using as dependent variable vegetation index and predictor variable, 2 different types of variable. And we evaluate the accuracy with leave one out cross-validation, calculate the adjustment error square, the root mean square error, and the root percentage square error, and the mean difference. And then the best model in each of the 2 study areas was used to build the maps of vegetation index. This is a sum of the results. Here are in the table, are not really good to see, but if we look at this graph, we can see that the percentage of root mean square errors is comparable within ILS, DTM independent, across the 2 study areas. And if we saw this scatter plot, we saw that there is no difference between DTM and ILS variable in the 2 study area. So we create this map, and for all the index and all the 2 study areas, and we can say, for example, for the dominant height, that is that one. That's in Vallombrosa forest, that is a reserve forest where there is no forest management plan. The distribution of the pixel in dominant height are really different each other, while in Rincine, this difference is low because the forest is under management plan and management activities, so are all, the forests are all even age. So, in conclusion, we can say that 3D UAV photogrammetric data are useful to map forest variables. DTM variables are also useful to predict forest vegetation index, not just volume, as we saw in the first article. And DTM independent variables are also useful to create map for forest management activities. The next step and activity will be to test this approach with image acquired by aircraft with the national worldwide acquisition of photogrammetry, if this method will, to test if this method can be used also with this data, and to test the DTM independent approach with different forest types. Thanks for your attention.
It would be probably either important to know which forest type.
Well, yes, there are mixed forests. In Vallombrosa there are some Abies alba plantation, but in the silver fir and beech forest, but also some plantation derived by experimental, so there is a Camecyparis there. And also in Rincine there is a lot of forest types that you will see in the next presentation, when there is the classification of forest types that are really different each other, from copies to Camecyparis plantation. There is a very huge.
Okay, we have time for 2 questions. 2 more questions. Video,
how many square kilometers are you able to acquire per day IED in that environment?
In that environment, we had 2.5 hours to acquire the 200 hectares. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah. 2 hours and a half for 200 hectares.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
because the regulation...
So, 1.5 complexly.
Yeah.
So, along the day...
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The project is a multi-scale project, so this case has been presented here with the farm level.